We already know that we're getting a guest instructor, Nate. He's very seasoned in competition. He's been there, done that. Just got his black belt last year.
Yeah. We're gonna start off with a little bit of a drill, just some hand fighting to kind of get warmed up. You already know that when I'm here, if he grabs my sleeve with his hand, and then I grab his sleeve, and then he lets go, and then he grabs my sleeve, and then we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And this move really is most valuable being kind of a surprise to my partner. So I don't really want to have to sit here and just keep fighting around for this grip. So my preference is to keep his hand close, get my grip, and just cover the wrist. A lot of the time my partner will reach with this hand to try and grip my collar. Before it gets there, I try to catch the thumb in the palm and my forefingers behind his hand and push his hand down. Okay, this is a really strong grip. It makes it very difficult for my partner to continue to pummel with me in hand fight. So I'm here, he reaches, I'm gripping, pushing down, just trying to cover this wrist if I can. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, clap. Hands up, 1, 2, 3. Moving your feet, don't forget to circle. Try to visualize in your head while you're doing this that you're actually grappling, right? Like I'm moving, I'm concerned about getting scored on. I don't want him to get the grips for his game. I want to be in mine. So the first time I actually hit this sweep I'm going to show you guys was actually in a tournament. So I'm a half guard player, so I pull into the half guard position. And one of the things that I've noticed, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about my pull. The way you do this is very, very important to making this work, right? So I have my grip, I'm gonna push my partner, and then as I pull, see how you push back? That's exactly what I'm looking for. As I pull, I wanna imagine that I'm kind of swinging off of his collar as if it's like a rope, right? And I'm gonna dive my back leg through his legs, and I'm looking to put my shin above his knee here. Okay, because I need to be able to play multiple guards. One of the things about playing guard that you guys may notice is I don't always get to pick what guard I play. The guy on top often kind of gets to decide that based on the response that he gives me, right? So I'm here, I'm gonna push and pull. And when you notice, guys, as I pull, my right leg's behind his calf, my left shin is on above his knee, and you guys notice how Coach stepped forward with this foot. This is exactly what we're looking for. Most of the time this happens. The other thing that can happen sometimes with my partner's response is he sees the pull coming and he'll just drop to his knees. If I'm looking to play half guard, that's perfect because now I'm in my position, I can start digging out my underhooks, looking to set up the sweeps that I'm looking for. But one of the troubles with half guard, again, being that the top guy gets to decide how he wants to respond, is that I can't force him to do this, right? So I started trying to come up with an idea on what to do when my partner stays standing. So that's how we kind of developed this, right? So I'm gonna push and pull, and right here, as soon as my partner, go back to your feet, as soon as my partner steps forward with his leg, I'm gonna take my free hand, bicep deep, and chop my partner's Achilles with this right arm. When I chop my partner's Achilles with this arm, I'm then going to pull this right heel to my butt and push with my top leg, like so, sitting my partner down. Once my partner hits the mat, one of the things you really have to avoid, it's a hard thing to think about, especially when you're new to this movement, is pushing. I don't want to reach with this arm, right? Because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. He can pummel his leg out, triangle me, he can triangle me, he can arm bar me. I keep the grip and I tuck my elbow into my partner's hip. Then I'm going to scissor my legs and come up to my knees, right into the over-under pass. Really important that you keep this collar hand elbow tight to the hip the entire time. So that way when I come up, I'm controlling his hips and I can move immediately into the over-under position, okay? So again, I'm here, pushing, pull, and scoop. Sit my partner down, come up on top, looking for my over-under position. One more time. Gonna go in steps here, right? I'm pushing, he pushes back, I pull. He steps, right? As soon as he steps here, I chop and hook my leg to my butt. Boom. Sit him down, come right up, score my 2 points, and I'm right in a really strong passing position. Does that make sense, guys? Another thing, my jiu-jitsu, I started jiu-jitsu at 21. I got my black belt at 28. I kind of just quit my job. My wife was really gracious, and I poured myself into the sport, right, for quite some time. But I always fought in the ultra heavyweight division, and I'm like barely 5'10", maybe 5'11" on a good day. So all my partners have always been much taller, larger, and heavier than me. So a lot of these techniques are developed in situations where I know that I need to be all the way underneath my partner or all the way away from my partner, right? So if you notice with the pull, I'm getting very deep in the hips. It's very important that when I pull, guys, I'm not ever doing this and sitting down. He's gonna walk right around my guard. I wanna be on my hip, my right hip as I pull and chop. Does that make sense? You guys wanna try, have questions?
One more time?
Yes, sir. One more time. I've got my grip, cover the wrist. I'm pushing, as he pushes back, pull, chop. Just like so. Sometimes my partner's stepping leg will be light, and when I chop, I'm gonna float that leg away. Other times the front leg will be very heavy, and the leg that's inside my guard will be the light leg. In that case, when I hook my leg to my butt, I will float the other leg away. If you do it hard enough, both legs come out from underneath him. But the moral of the story is when you pull, make sure you're hooking with your feet and chopping with your arm, same time. Boom, to sit the guy down. Make sense? Cool? 1, 2, 3. Look at me. Try and high five me with that hand. Yes.
Okay.
Just like that.
And then,
Does that make sense?
yes.
We're all a lot stronger here than like here. So then you're really thinking about, I'm gonna go on your side, okay, because this is how you're doing. Yeah. I'm really thinking about floating this leg. I wanna get this leg like I'm looking for the ceiling with this foot. And on the same side of this grip here, the opposite hip is the hip I want on the mat. So I don't wanna fall to this side. I wanna be on this hip. So as I pull, I'm going here. Right? Okay. And you see I'm already loaded with this hand here, right. Already loaded to just pull. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so you keep the collar. Oh, tuck okay. Your elbow to her hip. Not that elbow, the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, now you're gonna build off your right elbow and scissor your legs to come up. Yes, you can pummel if you want to, but it's not necessary. I mean, if this is like how you like to pass, that's totally fine.
Okay.
But you're coming up in a really strong passing position.
Yeah. All right, so then do I just like get this over my head?
Whatever you like, man. Oh, from there, it's totally up to you how you want to pass.
When you go under, where does this leg go?
Right where you just put it.
Yeah?
Yeah, right on the hip. Yeah, so I'm gonna go under. I'm not gonna knock you down. I'm gonna go here and there. Right?
Oh, okay.
Here, on the hip. And then this leg is just going up. I'm not pulling to me, I'm going up over my head. Yep, yep. Hey guys, look at me really quick, just stay where you're at, so look this direction. On the arm you're chopping the leg with, when I do this, I'm not going in to me. Like sometimes he steps away, like a little bit, or like it's just far away, right? But he still stepped. I'm not going here to pull it to me. I want you to envision you're splitting his legs open. So I'm going up with this grip, not pulling it in, but I'm hitting upward with my hand. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, just continue what you're doing, okay? We'll do one more thing. That looks pretty good. We're gonna just go ahead and do the over-under pass. I'll show you guys kind of the details that I like to use for this guard pass. It's pretty simple, so I feel like 10 minutes or so is probably plenty of time to just kind of work on it a little bit. When I come up, guys, I've come on top, and I was just chopping the Achilles, so my arm should be inside. The cool thing about this pass, one of the things that I really do enjoy, is if you noticed, Professor Steve, every time I would hit this, he would fall to this hip, right? We're kind of in this position. This is actually better for me, because one of the frustrations of trying to over-under pass is that he stays on this hip, and then I'm trying to pass, and I just kind of keep digging into a more kind of stalemate position where he's got a really good guard. It's tough for me to really look for anything. He's on his hip, he's shrimping away, etc. Because of the nature of the sweep, as I'm coming up, I kind of get to catch him flat, like this, okay? What I want to do here, guys, is make sure that this arm is hidden. If you've ever been Kimura'd off this position, you'll never forget it. Make sure this arm is really tight. What I really care the most about is that my bicep is very tight to the outside of his leg. My goal is to grip below the knee with this hand. So I'm tight to the inside, gripping below the knee with this hand. My right hand is looking for his belt, okay? Pants are okay also. if the belt isn't there, but really I just want to grip in this general area here on the hip, okay? And then I'm looking to push my face into the hip flexor with my ear down towards the mat. Some details here. I've noticed that if I turn too far away, sometimes he can slide in a crossface and pull my head to the other side, like this, boom. And that is just quite possibly the worst thing, you know? It sucks. You're losing the position, there's risk for submissions, etc. So I'm staying here, got my strong grip on the pants, below the knee, my head is in his hip flexor, and I'm just gonna pinch my knees together and lift my knees off the mat like so. And I'm generating force off the floor, pushing into my partner, okay? So I'm here, driving in. Now I'm going to walk to the center with my right elbow on the floor to base so I don't get tipped over. I don't like to pass here because dynamic guard players can high step, they can retract their knee, and this is just a nightmare. It's a nightmare with a good guard player, and it's quite exhausting to deal with. So I just want to shut it down before it's even a problem. Build, putting them flat, I come to the center. Then I'm gonna step over and immediately drive my knee underneath his inside leg, like so. Once I've gotten to this position, I let go of my grip and close my elbow to my partner's hip, and then move into the side control. Throughout this movement, it's very important that I don't get lazy and start crawling on my knees here. That's a really common mistake with this pass. You can get tilted, you can get triangled, you can get comored. Stay on your toes. I'm looking at like this all the time. Kind of like a slug, you know? Just grinding my way through. One more time. So I just came up off my sweep. I've got I'm gonna seek this grip pretty early, pretty much as soon as I come up. Make my grip here. I'm not flaring my elbow out like this. It's very tight. To my body, to his leg, okay? Onto my toes, lifting my knees off the mat, walk to the center, step over, and chase the inside of that knee with my leg here. Now from here, I'm on my knees for explanation, but in reality, I wanna be here, driving pressure forward. Swimming over, cover the hip, and walk my way to side control. Cool? It's pretty simple, yeah? Agreed? Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I turn, the guy usually frames my hip from here, and then I take this arm that was inside and I just bump your wrist, like this. And then I walk back center, step over, and drag. It kind of makes it a little more loose because that is the correct response to do that, but I try to give him my hip. And then when he frames the hip, come here. So go into the pass, yeah. Reach this arm underneath my leg. Yeah, start building up to your pass. And then I do this, right? And tilt your hips towards me like you're gonna try and pass this way, like by walking backwards. And then I go here. Use your elbow to clear that grip, and then just go right back to your grip. And you really have to make sure when you pop this grip off to bring your hip into me so that I can't repost. Here I'm in a place where I can push you. As soon as you clear this, drop your hip down. Yeah, good, it's perfect. Does that make sense?
Into the pass, and like this arm's here, how do you move that arm out? Like
the one that's inside? Yeah, so this is actually something that, this is actually something that when teaching, it's a hard thing to teach because there's a lot of things that are gonna make me decide when I take my arm out. I think my preferred thing to do here is to build onto my toes, and usually my partner's gonna be trying to frame me in some capacity, right? I'm either gonna pick to drop my hips back and walk forward without ever taking this arm and reaching with it at all, or if he's framing my hip, like he's trying to stop my hip, just take your right hand and place it on my hip, like you're trying to stop me from coming up. I'll take my left elbow and bump this out, and then drop my hips up, and then walk. But I don't ever really take this arm out and reach unless I feel very confident and safe that it's not going to result in him putting his hand in my bicep. This becomes a nightmare to deal with, right? Now it's very hard for me to play pressure because my pressure is very manipulatable by him. So I try my best to just go from here to here and then reach. But I'm like opening my my hips, hip to hip with him, and then reach for my secondary grip. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you basically wait until that hip up high replaces that arm before you let go of the arm.
Yes, and I try to, almost like I'm doing sort of a knee cutting motion, get hip to hip with him, and then I'll retract and go across the knee.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in, recording the passion stuff.